They say the most dangerous silence isn't the one you can hear. It's the one that echoes after you stop caring, after you finally become quiet inside. You did it. After months, maybe years of holding your breath, you finally exhaled. You stopped studying the punctuation in their texts. You stopped decoding the hours, the days of silence between messages, trying to extract meaning, trying to locate your place in their life. You stopped shrinking yourself. You stopped folding yourself smaller just to fit into the tiny, inconsistent scraps of affection they handed you. You stopped explaining your value. You stopped begging for consistency. You stopped apologizing for having needs, the most basic human needs: to be seen, to be chosen, to be met halfway. You walked through the fire of withdrawal. You felt the physical pain of letting go. You cried until your body ached. You grieved the future you imagined with who you thought they could become. You grieved the version of yourself that existed only to love them, and still you held on. You didn't shatter. You survived. You put the phone down. You muted the notifications. You started listening to the music you loved before everything revolved around them. You chose quiet. You chose peace. And just as your nervous system takes its first real, deep breath in what feels like forever, just as the fog in your mind begins to lift, just as you remember what you sound like, what you enjoy, what you want, it happens. Your phone lights up, their name appears. Your heart doesn't just sink, it jolts, a sensation you know too well, that toxic mix of dread, adrenaline, and hope, that dangerous, devastating hope. You open the message. It isn't angry, it isn't distant, it's soft. It's the exact message you spent countless nights staring at the ceiling, begging the universe to deliver. I've been thinking about you. I drove past our restaurant today. I miss you. I'm sorry. You were right. And in that instant, your entire world tilts off its axis. Your mind explodes with questions. Have they changed? Did my silence finally wake them up? Did my absence finally show them my value? Is this real? Let me be the voice you need right now. Let me cut through the beautiful, dangerous fog of hope clouding your judgment. What you are witnessing is not a revelation. It is a reflex. What you are seeing is not growth. It is a panic response. This is for you. The one staring at the screen, heart pounding, feeling that old familiar pull. The one already feeling guilty for the peace you fought so hard to earn. You need to understand what is happening psychologically. You think your silence gave them space. You think your absence offered them the distance they always claimed to need. But that isn't the truth. Your silence didn't give them space. It removed their mirror. For a long time, the dynamic depended on a predictable imbalance. They felt safe inside their fortress of detachment. And they felt safe because they knew you were still right outside the walls, waiting, chasing, proving your love even while hurting. Your anxiety was their reassurance. Your consistency validated their control. When you stopped caring, you didn't just walk away from the fortress, you pulled the foundation out from underneath it, because you were their safety. Your constant, predictable emotional energy was the invisible structure holding their fragile world together. And now that you're gone, everything is shaking. But this is the part you must hear. This is the truth that stings but frees you. This is not the collapse of love. It is the collapse of control. They aren't reaching out because they finally see you. They're reaching out because they can no longer see themselves reflected in your devotion. And this is the beginning of their most confusing trick. They are panicking. But to understand this panic, this sudden reversal, you have to understand the role you actually played. The part that hurts to accept. You weren't just their partner. You weren't just their lover. You were their emotional mirror. Your love served a function, not for you, for them. And that function was to prove that they were real, Let me explain. Beneath the avoidant mask of confidence and independence, beneath the "I don't need anyone" exterior, there is a deep, unnamed emptiness, a quiet terror, a chronic fear that they are not enough, or worse, that they are nothing at all. They often lack a stable sense of self. Their identity isn't built from the inside out. It's reflected back from others. They know who they are only by seeing how people respond to them. And you, with your empathy, your depth, your devotion, were the clearest mirror they ever found. Think about it, your love, your pursuit, your good morning texts, the way you overanalyzed them, the way you waited, your patience, your forgiveness, your tears, your frustration, even your anger. Every reaction was a reflection. Every signal shouted the same message. You exist, you matter, you affect another human being. You were living proof that they had emotional gravity, that they could pull an entire planet into their orbit. Your pain confirmed their power, not a cruel power, an existential one, the power to feel real. And then you stopped. You stopped reacting. You stopped chasing. You reclaimed your emotional energy, and the mirror went dark. The reflection disappeared. For the first time, maybe ever, they were left alone. Alone with the one thing they've spent their life avoiding: themselves. The silence you created is not peaceful for them. It's deafening. It's an abyss. In that emptiness, there is no reflection, no confirmation, no you proving they exist. This isn't simple sadness. It isn't just loneliness. It's existential terror. So hear this clearly. Stop romanticizing this moment. Stop telling yourself this means they finally miss you. Stop convincing yourself they finally understand your worth. What you're seeing isn't someone who misses you. It's someone terrified because they lost their reflection. They're staring into the space you once filled with your energy, your love, your hope, your pain. And for the first time, they see nothing. And that emptiness terrifies them. That message you're reading isn't a strategy. It's a primal reaction to stop the free fall. They'll say whatever they need to say to get the mirror back. They don't want to see you. They need to see themselves. And this is where the chaos returns. That anxiety you carried for years, the 2 a.m. chest-tightening panic, the inability to breathe, it was never truly yours. It was theirs. You were just holding it. You were their emotional container. When you walked away, you stopped carrying it. You handed it back. You said, "This isn't mine anymore." And now they are finally feeling the weight of their own emotional world. Their next move is a desperate attempt to give that chaos back to you. Don't take it. The first phase of the trick is devastatingly smart. It doesn't begin with anger. It begins with softness, a precision strike on your healing. It's the message you're staring at. I drove past our place today. I heard our song. I've been thinking. You were right. I miss you. Words that fall like rain in a desert. And your heart, hopeful and starving, bursts open. All the progress you made suddenly feels fragile. Relief floods in. Validation. Vindication. You tell yourself this is the breakthrough. The silence worked. They changed. They finally see me. And you want to believe it because believing feels safer than the truth you've been living. This is the most dangerous moment in your healing. So pause, breathe. Hear this. Their vulnerability feels real. Their sadness is real. Their panic is real, but it is temporary. It is genuine panic. It is not genuine change. It is born from fear, not from growth. It is the vulnerability of someone who is drowning, not the vulnerability of someone ready to learn how to swim. They are not reaching for you as a whole person with depth, boundaries, and needs. They are reaching for a life raft. They are reaching for the relief your care once gave them. They are reaching for the role you used to play in their life. This is a reflex, not a realization. An instinct, not a conscious decision to evolve. They are not coming back to reconnect. They are coming back to check. Beneath the words, beneath the softness, there is a silent interrogation happening. And those questions are not, "Do you love me?" The questions are you still my mirror? Am I still visible to you? Do I still matter in your emotional universe? Will you please take this unbearable chaos, this anxiety, this inner noise I can't hold on my own, and carry it for me one more time? That message is not an invitation. It is a test of your new boundaries, a test of your hard-earned resolve. And here is the hidden, devastating tragedy of this moment. The second you respond with that familiar warmth, the second you type back, "I miss you too," the second your empathetic heart opens and says, "Yes, I'm still here. Yes, I still care. Yes, I'll hold you," something immediate and powerful happens inside them. A profound sense of relief washes over their system. The panic quiets. The free fall stops. Their feet touch solid ground again. The mirror lights back up. And what happens every single time an avoidant finally feels safe? What always follows once the connection feels secure again? When the chase ends, when the anxiety fades, they pull away. The wall you thought had finally collapsed is rebuilt quietly, brick by brick. The message is slow, the distance returns, the ambiguity creeps back in, not because you did something wrong, but because the trick worked. The moment they saw their reflection again in your loving, hopeful eyes, they were reassured of their existence. The panic disappeared, and with that panic went the need for you. They were never coming to stay. They were coming to refuel, and they will leave you once again standing in the wreckage, more confused than before, holding the emotional weight of two people and asking yourself what you did wrong. But what if you don't take the bait? What if your healing has gone so deep that you don't fall for it this time? What if the time apart has given you clarity instead of longing? What if you see the "I miss you" and recognize it for what it is, a reflex born of fear? What if you respond with silence, or even more powerfully with a brief, polite, emotionally neutral reply? "I'm glad you're doing well. I wish you the best." No warmth, no questions, no opening. You hold your boundary. This is the moment their panic truly ignites. The first attempt, the illusion of vulnerability, has failed. You have failed the test. You have refused to be their mirror. The reflection remains dark, and this is intolerable to them. The realization lands hard. The old key no longer fits the lock. The soft approach didn't work. So phase 2 of the final trick begins, a desperate last-ditch effort. If they cannot pull you back with hope, they will try to drag you back with guilt. This is where the story flips. This is where the victim becomes the villain. This is where you are suddenly painted as cruel. The tone changes. The softness gives way to wounded accusation. From "I miss you" to "I can't believe you." You'll get the messages. "I guess I never meant that much to you." "I can't believe you could move on so easily after everything." "I was going through such a hard time and you just abandoned me." And the most manipulative one of all, "You've become so cold." Let that land. The person who starved you of affection, the person who met your warmth with distance and silence, is now accusing you of being cold. The person who emotionally abandoned you day after day is now accusing you of abandonment. This isn't just lashing out. It's a deep, often unconscious, psychological manipulation, a targeted attempt to destabilize your peace. They need you to doubt your healing. They need you to question your reality. Because if you feel guilty, if you feel defensive, then you are no longer at peace. And if you are not at peace, you are still reachable. They need you to feel like the villain for finally drawing the boundary they forced you to draw. Why do they do this? Why such a cruel reversal? Because the avoidant personality cannot tolerate being the sole source of failure. Their identity is built on a fragile sense of competence and independence. To fully accept that their fear, their avoidance, their inability to connect is what destroyed the relationship would force them to face a level of shame that feels annihilating. They can't do it. They won't do it. So by making you feel guilty, they achieve two critical things. First, they pull you back into the emotional mud. The moment you feel the need to explain, to defend yourself, to say, "I'm not cold, I'm protecting myself," or "I didn't abandon you, you pushed me away," you are engaged again. You are no longer indifferent. You are back in the dynamic, back in the dance. The trap has worked. Second, and this is the deepest part, they soothe their own conscience by projecting the blame onto you. They rewrite the story into something they can live with, a story where the relationship failed because you became cold and impatient, a story that erases the truth that it failed because they were emotionally unavailable, because they were afraid of intimacy, because they starved you of the love you deserved. By shifting the blame, they avoid self-reflection entirely. It is the final dirty trick to escape accountability. Your peace is dangerous to them. Your calm is a spotlight on their unresolved chaos. That is why they are trying to shatter it. So, what do you do now? The illusion of vulnerability didn't pull you back. The trap of guilt is laid out in front of you. Do you block them? Do you finally send that long, furious paragraph you've been composing in your head for years? Do you defend yourself one last time? Hear this clearly. Every one of those actions is a reaction. And a reaction is still a connection. Anger is a connection, a hot, painful tether. Guilt is a connection, a heavy, invisible chain. Defending yourself is the deepest connection of all, because it proves their opinion still matters. As long as you are reacting, you are still in the dance. As long as you are engaging, you are still holding the mirror. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. Your true freedom, your final graduation from this exhausting cycle, is not found in anger. It is found in genuine indifference, not performative indifference, not aggressive, "look how much I don't care" energy. That is still a performance, still for them. This is something quieter, settled, a deep emotional neutrality. It's the moment their name appears on your screen and there is no jolt of hope, no surge of anger, no stab of guilt. Your heart doesn't even flinch. It's just a name, a relic from another life, a ghost in the system. The emotional charge is gone. The gravity they once held in your world has dissolved. You stopped caring about them because you finally started caring about yourself. This is the moment their final trick loses all power, because every trick they have, softness or guilt, exists to provoke one thing: a reaction. They are keys fumbling for the lock of your heart. And when you are truly indifferent, you haven't just closed the door, you've changed the lock entirely. Their old keys no longer work. They can push vulnerability. They can jam in guilt. But the door doesn't open. You are no longer their mirror. So rewrite the names they tried to give you in their panic. They call you cold. You are clear. They call you cruel. You are healed. They say you abandoned them. You finally saved yourself. The final dirty trick only works if you are still a willing audience. Only if you still believe it is your responsibility to fix them, to save them, to reflect them back to themselves. It is not. Your only job now is to turn that mirror toward yourself, to fall in love with the person you see, to forgive yourself for how long you stayed, to honor yourself for the strength it took to finally walk away. Their panic is not your emergency. Their emptiness is not yours to fill. Their last desperate maneuver is the dying echo of a dynamic you have already outgrown. Let them go. Let them face their own reflection. You have an entire peaceful, beautiful life to live.